Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Kaba Ilco 7221TK1-10B is what this is. Here's one removed from the box. So this is a 7221. Well, 7221TK means two things. It means it's 1 3/8. Okay. Underside of the head to the back of the cam is 1 3/8. It also means that it is a Thumbturn. It's a mortise cylinder with a Thumbturn. Not a mortise cylinder, small format housing, not a conventional mortise cylinder, or some other derivative of mortise cylinder. That's what that means. The 1 means a standard cam. The 10B is a reference to the finish. Okay. Oil rub bronze is what that's meant to emulate. What would this be used for? Well, let's talk about that right now. Where you're going to end up using this mortise Thumbturn in this type of length is indeed a relatively unusual application. Short of ordering or custom fabricating very long mortise cylinders, which we've done, and I have a 3-inch mortise cylinder lying around here somewhere. It's in Ilco. Whether it be 1 3/8 or 3-inch or any dimension, it's an unusual application. A standard Thumbturn mortise cylinder is going to be 15/16. You know, 1 3/4 thick doors, a couple of trim rings, it's perfect. 1 1/8, 1 inch, 1 1/8, yeah, sure. And all you're doing for 1 3/4 thick doors is you're adding more, you know, cylinder collars or trim rings or cylinder rings. So having the cylinder shorter is better. It will project off the face of the door less. But why 1 3/8? Well, this client has an 1 3/8 small format mortise cylinder housing on the outside. This is literally for the job. 1 3/8 7-pin small format. So we've got 2 5/8 door thickness. And by the way, very important, the lock is centered in the door. Let's back up. You're going to use unusual length mortise cylinders, be they Thumbturn or otherwise, generally on unusual thickness of doors, or the location of the lock in the door is unusual. Okay, those are the two instances that I see it. 2 5/8 thick door. We've got an 1 3/8 small format housing. We've got an 1 3/8 Thumbturn mortise cylinder. That's 2 3/4 inch. We're going to allow 1/8 of an inch between the two cams when the cylinders are threaded in. So that takes us to 2 7/8. Well, 2 7/8 minus 2 5/8 is 1/4 inch. So we've got 1/8 of an inch trim ring under the head of each cylinder. It's perfect. The only problem is the client, unfortunately, has knowingly had to buy oil rubbed because it's the closest finish to 609, which is what that mortise cylinder housing was. It's not 609, obviously, but it's a lot closer to antique brass than satin chrome or polished brass. That's the bottom line. But what I did, speaking of that, the client asked me, what can I do? I need a Thumbturn. So I said to the client, well, what I can do, and he bought 2 of those mortise cylinder housings, I can create a non-removable key application, which is what I did here. I inserted a small format core into an 81 or 80. It's an 80-103 is what it is. It's an 80-101, except with this MS style cam on the back, it's now an 80-103. And I created what ALOA, or the List Council, would call a non-removable key. I took my core, control key, inserted it, and then I modified the operating key such that it can't be pulled out once it's inserted, not without destructive bypass. So this is now a Thumbturn with that key. I said to the client, well, it's going to take 6 weeks to get you a antique brass 7221, and you might even have to buy 10. The downside, though, is the face of that core is not 609, but at the end of the day, neither is the key. So that might just be fine for the client. The client said, you know what, that's a good idea. Why don't you send that to me, and then send me this as well, and I'll let the client decide. So Or option 3, of course, is to simply special order the Thumbturn in 609. Now, why a Schlage housing on this job? Because it was in stock. The lead time is the most crucial thing. So, a couple of 1/8" trim rings, you're off to the races. This is going to work just perfectly. Obviously, this is a standard cam. So for this would be normally a 7221 TK2 when you have the Adams Right cam on it. So I'll send this to him. He can swap the cam out. Because we're doing a standard Adams Right bottom rail deadbolt. So it's really important when you are doing unusual length cylinders to know not only the door thickness, to know where in that door the lock will be located, to calculate the thickness of cylinder collars or trim rings or cylinder guards that you would need, and you're in really good shape. And that's what happened. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, here's what we have. Not much to see here, but let's take a closer look at the images. 7221 TK1. There's the cylinder itself. This is a standard 1 5 32nd diameter mortise cylinder, 32 threads per inch, typical. Your 863G cam on the back, that's the Kaba Ilco part number 4, just what we call a standard cam. It's going to be used in key switches, cylinder dogging, very old mortise locks, like mortise locks from around World War I. There's a close-up of the Thumbturn and the finish. Okay, not a whole lot there to see. There's a link below here to the manufacturer's page, and this is a good link because it will allow you to review not only all of the Kaba Ilco products we sell by means of that horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, and this will allow us to take a look at the brass cylinder manual, and in here is the how to order legend. This tells you what it is you're dealing with. In this catalog, turn knob mortise cylinders. We've got a column here for length and the different Thumbturn type. So we're dealing with the 7221. I need 1 3/8, so 7221 it is. There you go. Okay, that's going to be our part number here. It's a TK, so it's not going to have a keyway. It's going to just have a TK, which is not in the table for step 2. They should have that floating out there, TK. Anyway, it's obvious. The cam or the tailpiece is step 3, and we're dealing with a 1, and a 1 is just the 863G standard cam. If you needed it with an Adams Right, we would just change it to 7221 TK1, TK2. Let's say you were sticking this into a Schlage mortise lock with a deadbolt. You'd make it a 7221 TK15. There's a Schlage L cam. Some people call it a beaver tail cam. By the way, in the parentheses below, that's the part number for the cam. Then, of course, our finish is step 4. We've got 10B for oil rub bronze. Any keying that would occur, which doesn't apply to a Thumbturn, would be step 5. Kaba Ilco can do factory keying, obviously. We can do the keying here to give you those cylinders arranged in the order that you would need them. The rest of this catalog is positively full of all things cylinder related. Key and knob, lever deadbolt, mortise cylinders, rim cylinders, different varieties. They do have interchangeable core platforms in here as well, and I would recommend reviewing this. This is an older version of this document, and I prefer it because it's more graphical. The newest one doesn't do much in the way of pictures or images. I wish Kaba Ilco produced a catalog that had a photograph for every single thing. It's been a dream of mine to actually create one for them. Not interested in purchasing one of each to have a photograph of everything. Fun fact, they do have a series of brass cylinders, and it is not shown here very well. They're 4500 series. I think it's shown in this older price list. Yeah, here it is. 4500 series deadbolts. I like these a lot. Why? Well, several reasons. Short projection off the face of the door is number 1. Number 2, they will fit into a hole as small as 1 7/8. Number 3, they are modular in the sense that you can toss any mortise cylinder into this you want. If you've got Medico mortise cylinders and you want your Medico 4, the latest and greatest restricted patented keyway, you can do that in this type of deadbolt. The Medico deadbolts you get will be far larger than this. You may not want so much hardware on the door. Number 4, if we're counting, is this. They make a 2-inch back set in a tubular deadbolt. If you've got a pair of 10-light French doors out in the back of the house or whatever, and you've got 4-inch stiles, yeah, you're going to want a 2-inch back set. Make it look really nice. Captive thumb turns, they do those as well. Oh, that's interesting. Captive thumb turn is nice in the sense that I believe I was talking earlier about a non-removable key. Here it is. So you are at home and you have the key, the captive thumb turn key, stuck in there so that it becomes a single cylinder deadbolt. You go on vacation, you want to pull that key out so that someone can't break the side light glass and reach in and unlock your door. So the captive thumb turn is nice. It has a special tool that you slide inside of here to lift that pin, is the bottom line. I don't sell these often. I did maybe a year or 2 ago. Anyway, lots of fun stuff in here. Speaking of fun stuff, other items on the manufacturer's page I would draw your attention to would be the Kaba Ilco key blank catalog. That is about a 500-page document that's going to allow you to see all things key related. From Kaba Ilco. You get into this red section is the North American cylinders, and it's alphabetical. Obviously, best. We're going to get to Corbin, and so on. Eagle, Falcon, Guard, Ilco, or independent lock key would be I. J, can't think of anything with a J. K, can't think of anything with a K. Anyway, you get the point. All of their cylinders are here. What you're seeing here is the broaching profile in the cylinder, as if you're looking down into the cylinder. If you're going to look at the tip of your key and study this, you'll have to flip that image around in your mind's eye. Very handy document. While you may not be able to figure out what key blank you need, you can always eliminate what it's not. So that does help you narrow it down at times. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. In conclusion, if you have any questions on this 7221TK1 or anything else Kaba Ilco related, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm partial to Kaba Ilco for a number of reasons. Exceptional gentleman over there in tech support for cylinders. He has helped me for many years along my path of discovery in terms of locksmithing, and to him for that I say thank you. Very high quality base material. Almost everything they do in their cylinders is made of brass. That's going to give you decades of faithful service. The material's generally in stock. The material's always very economical. If you're doing a job and you need Sargent RA, you've got 2 options. You can buy the original Sargent mortise cylinder. That's probably in stock in that keyway. Or you can spend a third of that and get a Kaba Ilco product. The downside of that example is that the broaching in that plug is going to be broached for a multi-section blank. So you'll run the RA, the RB, and the RC through that, but to you that may not matter. It's not technically recommended, and in your instance it might be absolutely an awful idea to do that. But look at Kaba Ilco, because you just might be saving yourself a ton of money, is the bottom line. I use them every time I can. Any questions on the 7221TK1 and 10B or any other Kaba Ilco product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.